آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بارك الله.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the opening prayer. Our topic for today is an interesting one: navigating challenges and resilience in entrepreneurship. Just like most of us, which I am one of them, to think that entrepreneurship is a smooth ride, we just get there and just get it done. We have been made to know that they also come with their challenges. And what keeps the entrepreneurs going is the resilience they have built along the line. And we have great minds of our own that are part of our membership in LASUMEGA to share from their wealth of experience. It is a great honor to welcome one of our speakers today, a man whose career reflects excellence, leadership, and courage to evolve, Mr. Adewale Jawando. He is the Managing Director of Acumen Development Limited, a company that focused on driving strategic growth and innovation in construction and development sector. He has led the company since 2019, building a reputation for integrity, technical depth, and smart execution. In addition to this, he has 11 years. He worked as a project engineer at ADAX for 11 years. His academic profile: Masters in Chemical Engineering from Unilag, BSc in Chemical and Polymer from our LASU. And he was also served as the president for LASUMEGA, where his leadership has continued to impact most of us to date. Our second speaker is another great honor to welcome our second speaker. He is a visionary leader, and I can testify to that on different fronts, who is transforming the agriculture, capital market, and access to financing across Africa. Mr. Ayodeji Balogun is the group CEO of AFEX, the Africa's leading commodity exchange and impact-driven platform focused on connecting smallholder farmers to market finance and prosperity. In addition to that, he served on multiple global boards, including Corporate Council on Africa, the Association of Futures Market, and the National Advisory Board for Impact Investing in Nigeria. He is also the former chairman of the Smallholder and Agri-SME Finance and Investment Network, SAFIN. Mr. Ayodeji Balogun has consistently championed innovations, access, and sustainability across different boardrooms, name it, in Lagos, Kigali, Budapest, Washington, and so on. His impact spans across digital finance, agricultural revitalization, policy reform, and youth development. I will start from Engineer Jawando to start giving us from his wealth of experience. And please, the speakers, please know that to allow for questions from our audience, each speaker will speak for 20 minutes. We know you have what to say for more than 20 minutes, but please pardon us that we are giving you this time. Thank you to our speakers for taking the floor. Engineer Jawando, we know that it's not been easy from the previous lectures that you have given us in the past. Some of us are students of your wealth of experience. Navigating entrepreneurship. Please, Engineer Jawando, over to you. 20 minutes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir. I can, but please, okay. Can you, hello everyone, please, you can just signify.
Yeah, but you should just help us amplify. You know, we
Okay, they
can't hear
said
you, but you
you hold.
yeah.
Okay, I'm actually using the app, so I'm thinking of it, trying to decide if I should remove it or not.
But it's
No, it's
better
better
this
now.
way.
It's better now.
Okay, let me do it without the earpiece. Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, I've been asked to talk about navigating through entrepreneurship challenges. First of all, before I go ahead, I appreciate our organization for deeming it fit to invite me to come and share my experience about the topic, and also my good brother, engineer DG, for creating time to be at this to be at this program. I know he's a very busy man, but that's to show how much he values the relationship of old, and that's why he's here today with us. So thank you very much for being here with us today. Okay. I'll just talk on a few points about some of these challenges that entrepreneurs have. And I'll start from the basics. And the first one I'll talk about is the lack of due diligence, especially as regards the business plan. For the business that we intend to go into, we need to do our findings, make our research, check the feasibility before we decide to go into it. And there are various models to assist us in doing this. Like what one of my mentors usually say, if it works on paper, there is a high chance that it will work in real life. But if it doesn't work on paper, it's most unlikely to work in real life. So the first thing you want to do is to have a business plan. When you're talking about a business plan, it talks about, especially for those that are into production, it talks about where you're going to source your materials, how you are going to manage your operations, and also the marketing. So from the beginning to the end, you need to have a clear picture of how exactly you want to execute it. Who are your customers? Does the existing market look like? Why should people buy from you? What are the additional values that you want to create to make people buy from you? So these are some of the things that entrepreneurs that don't create adequate time to look at some of these issues, by the time they go into it, they go into their businesses, they find out that they are having lots of challenges. The aim of business is for you to create value and earn money. So if you're unable to earn money and have a good cash flow, the business eventually collapse. So also in the process of doing this, there is what we call the stages of business development, which is about 5. You need to understand at what stage you are in each of these 5 stages. So that, and that stage will determine whether you are, how much money you can spend, how much money you can draw. Is it the time to start drawing money out of the business? Because if you don't plan this and you invest in a business and you make money and you draw the money out, we also what happened to the people in the downstream sector about 2 years ago, where some of them that are buying fuel at 200 naira, the fuel went up to 460, they are struggling to buy, and all of a sudden it went up to 900, 1,000 naira. So if you don't have like a kind of reserve, which are some of the things you consider when you're setting up a business, you run into problems at the end of the day. So the first one I've mentioned is the business plan, then also understanding how things involve in the business development process. So the first one is the idea stage, whereby you have several ideas of how to make money. Like I said earlier, what the entrepreneurs wants to do is to make money. The reason why it's creating a value is because that value will bring money at the end of the day. So it's creating a value, and at the end of the day, it's making money. But making money is the main goal, because if you are not making money, then it becomes a charity. If you don't intend to make money from it, it becomes a charity. So you understand the process. At the idea stage, what you're essentially doing is you are looking at the different businesses you can go into. You can have like 2, 3, 4. You look at the kind of investment required to go into them, the amount of expected return, the break-even period on the business, the risk associated with the business, let you see how much control that you're going to have in running that business. So people that fail to go through this, maybe somebody just brought one idea and he pumps money into it, and at the end of the day, everything becomes a story. So this is part of the deal. So the second stage is the feasibility stage. At the feasibility level, that's when you learn about the entire project, the A to Z of the business with some finer details more than the ideas. At this feasibility stage, you've already selected one particular one that you want to do. So that's when you got your financial plan, your market.
I don't know if it's general. I can't hear Engineer Jawando anymore.
I remember to
Engineer Jawando.
Okay, do not disturb. Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's clearer now. It's clearer.
Okay, so Z of the business, your materials, where your sources, or you want to be trading, where are you going to be buying from, which area is cheaper than the other, what's the logistics of getting to your place, how exactly do you want to market your products, what kind of payment methodology are you going to adopt, are you going to be doing delivery, or you want to have a center where you'll be trading, and all these things, you look at them at that feasibility stage. So from that feasibility stage, you go into what we call the execution. Execution is if at that point you need equipment, you are buying the equipment. If you need a space, you are preparing the space. If you need the electricity, you're already applying or you are getting alternative electricity, and you finish all that, then you go and start business. So after you start the business, there is what we call the waiting phase. At the waiting phase, despite the fact that you've done your risk assessment before starting, you've had mitigation measures in place, there will be some things that will still come up that you never anticipated. Doing your risk assessment will take out almost 90-95% of the potential risks that will come up. But because of the dynamic nature of man and the economy and everything, so some other few things will still crop up, which you need to deal with them. You won't start a business in one day and everything goes on smoothly. So you start resolving some issues to start your business, for your business to be able to move very well. So once as you finish that, then you now go into what we call, at that waiting stage, you are resolving issues that are coming up. Then you now go into the success stage. Is at this success stage is that the business can actually run on its own with very minimal supervision. You have people that are handling each thing. If you're also participating in the business, you know at the level which you are participating, you are not the MD and at the same time the workmen in the field. So things are a bit fleshing out. And at this stage also, the business is giving you something close to the projected return. So depending on whatever happens. So going through this stage, I say business so much. What you are just doing work. At the feasibility stage, you spend some money, but what you are doing is studies. So, and at the execution phase, that is where the money is spent. You don't start drawing money from the business, even if you make profit. Some things which you need to. The last one is the success stage where the business is available and giving you good returns. So, what are some other challenges? The first two is dependent on the entrepreneur to do his due diligence. If you do your due diligence, developing a business plan, feasibility study will capture some of these things I've said earlier. So some of the challenges that we do have as entrepreneurs, one of them is, okay, let me just, not in order of hierarchy anyway. So one of them is access to credit. For a young entrepreneur that wants to start a business, the money is usually not enough. As in, what you have and the business you want to start is usually not enough. What I advise entrepreneurs to do is to always find a way to scale their business in such a way that they will be able to start what they can start. Then going to the bank might not also be an easy task, because even for those of us that have been established for some time, getting finances at times could pose a challenge, except you have some level of relationship beyond the business of some of the banks. But what I will advise people is, what I will advise entrepreneurs is, in everything you do, integrity is key. If you have integrity, it's fund through families, and you can get cheaper funds. But if you are the kind of person that has been giving money in the past and could not explain how he spend the money, or not have that money, then this becomes the issue. And for most young entrepreneurs, you don't have a landed property that you want to use as collateral. And I'm not sure, maybe for your father, but that's, I'm not going to give for us to deposit in bank. So that is to consider raising funds from above. And the other issue is the other major challenge is the personal competency. That's personal competency. That's the people you are going to hire to do the work. Some of them actually will have the certificate, but the competency level in the country has dropped over the years, and you need to take this into consideration. You might need, especially if you're going to do some high-tech business, you might need to get people from other industries which you need to attract with money, and ensure that they train the people, the fresh graduates that are coming out from the university. So that's one of the ways to build the competence. If you have incompetent staff, you're going to be losing. One of the other challenges we have as entrepreneurs in the Nigeria of today is the issue of stealing or pilfering by the workers. We all know the challenges of the wages, and you won't blame the entrepreneurs too. Even what the federal government is paying is not enough to take people. You have that challenge, and I think survive. But even they're a bit trustworthy, but a lot of people want to live beyond that means. So you need to put measures in place to ensure that you reduce stealing in your firm. If you allow them to say, okay, it's just 5% they are stealing from the profit, it doesn't matter. Before you know it, they'll start stealing 90% or 10% of the profit. So one of the other challenges is the economic instability, especially the one that has happened in the country in the last 2 years plus. It's not just about the high cost of materials, but it also hampers your ability to plan ahead for whatever you want to do. For example, you want to buy equipment from abroad, and the dollar rate keeps going from 700 to 800 to 900 to 1,000 to 1,500, 1,007. And by the time you are trying to take it, you say, okay, let me buy at 1,007. You see the price coming down again, and a bit confused. Okay, how low can it get to? Getting to 900 again, thinking that, okay, let me just wait 1 week more to see if at the end of the day, it rises back up and goes to 1,600. So for that entire duration that you are waiting for the stability in the currency, you will not actually be able to start your business unless, okay, give or take, I'll go ahead at 1,002, 1,003, or 1,006. So it brings about a lot of indecision in the entrepreneurs, as in trying to know at what point do you have to get money from the bank. And this is even more difficult for those of us that are getting dollarized loans. Because if you get dollarized loan and you're getting your money in Naira, and the Naira devalues further, paying back the loan becomes more difficult. So that's one of the effects of the economic instability. It hampers your decision-making ability and your ability to make quick decisions. So the second one is the issue of the inflation. I deal in one of my products is that this affects more is on the family, and I know our engineer Deji will be able to talk more about this. They're also in the sector. And they gather us to tell us some of the things we can do to navigate these challenges. So let's take, for example, I have a poultry, I deal in egg production. And for egg production, no matter the cost of production, by the time students go on vacation, the price automatically drops. That's for first term, second term, and third term vacation, because the school session actually drives up the price. So you now have a situation whereby even when the price of inputs is going up because of the inflation, at some point during the year, you have to reduce the price of your own produce. More especially when you are dealing in produce and not stay for a very long time. That things are perishable. So you just have to sell and continue to roll over your capital. So that's just one example. And to put it in context, in 2023, when the current administration came on board, as at May 28, May 29, the morning of May 29, we bought I think a ton of maize for around 210,000 naira. And by 5th of June, the same maize went up to 330,000 naira. So, and within that short period, that one difference is almost impossible for you to increase the price of. You remember we are just coming back from the Mefele Naira issue, which has almost destroyed a lot of business. So businesses do not even have that liquidity to add 50% to the cost of the purchase of raw material at that point. So a lot of businesses struggle. And at the seller's end, at the retail end, so at the marketing end, you are able to transfer that cost immediately, because there are a lot of customers that even have products that are unable to sell. So, and it's better to sell at a loss than to lose the total value. So the economic stability and the inflation also come in. And how do you manage this? One of the ways to manage it is, first of all, it has a pattern in Nigeria, especially when you are dealing with grains. At harvest, the price comes down, and the farther you go from harvest, the price goes up. So you learn to buy in bulk, but that takes us back to the issue of access to credit. So if you are not able to access credit from the banks, consider getting that from friends and family. I've always that has worked for me. Then the second issue is, which I know Engineer Deji will also talk about, is there are some programs with some of the grain suppliers that's in my business where you can get some kind of credit line where you don't have to put all the money down at the same time, but that comes with some markup or interest. So depending on what your faith will permit you to do. So those are some of the other options that you want to consider. Then the third one is purchase. Even when you are moving away from harvest, you try to buy in bulk. For some of these companies, when you are buying in bulk, the special discounts are given so that can add to part of your savings. Then the fourth one to assist you is you have a relationship with the customers, so that even when the chips are down, you will be the last man standing. They will not just leave you and go to another customer because that person has reduced price. You have a relationship with them such that if anything is happening in the market, they will inform you. They will not just leave you, abandon you. So these are some of the things I want to share with us on the challenges. I think I spent 20 minutes. Yeah, it's about 20 minutes now. So I'll stop here and allow right on time. Yeah. So thank you for listening to my short presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Engineer Jawando. That's quite informative within that very short time. I'll be going to our next speaker, Mr. Yodeji Balogun. Please, the floor is yours.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much for having me once again. Thank you very much for that, Jawando. Thank you for all your sacrifices and leadership for us in last week where you know you were going out of campus when we were even entering PDS, but you've always been so we are not even like we used to say, they were writing our name with pencil at the time when you had carried your engineering degree, but we kept seeing you throughout our time on campus and even beyond. You've been a steadfast leader for the community. May Allah always be sufficient for you and may He make easy your affairs and make comparison. Jazakumullah khairan. Thanks for having me on this very important topic. I'll try and do less than 20 minutes. I hope that I'll make it easy because I feel like in the interaction and people sharing their anecdotes, is where the real gems. I've gone through a few of the sessions. I attended a couple, and I've also seen some notes. And we've gone between listening to entrepreneurs' journeys, how they move from campus to founders, how they've navigated the business world, technology, in business. Then at the beginning of my, session, fundraising, and all the very important parts of business. But I feel like this part on resilience, is like the operating system of entrepreneurship. If you imagine all those things that we've done at the, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Tools, Adobe, all the other softwares that you use on your normal PC. But the resilience, is like the operating system. And you know that if a software crashes, you can use another one or figure something out. But if the operating system is not there, then there's nothing to really come on. So, I think, us being able to ask questions around this is what prepares us for the journey for entrepreneurship, entrenches us, in it, because things will always get tough, except you're not succeeding and you're not growing. But the more you grow, you would have new challenges, and you know, that capacity to stay steadfast, is a very important point. So I have 4 points, and a number of them connect to what our brother Jando has also mentioned. First is on the personal journey. You as a founder, you as a builder, you as the CEO of your business. What is that sacrifice that you have to make? So first, for a lot of people, the biggest sacrifice was, even starting. How do I leave the unknown how do I leave the known for the unknown? How do I venture? Should I quit my, 9 to 5 for my 5 to 9? Or should I run my 9 to 5 and my 5 to 9 side by side? Do I partner? Do I go solo? Do I have what it takes? That first quest, is a big challenge, that you have to first order. Then you get into defining the vision, and setting out the process, writing your business plan. A lot of us, have not, we're school trained as engineers. And when they say write a business plan that is 80 pages, 70 pages, where is your financial forecast or financial model? It becomes quite a big of a challenge. It's like you're doing another final year project. And if you go and get somebody to write it for you, except you're already in that business, the person will miss your point because it's your idea as the founder, it's your vision, it needs to come out from you. So that period itself, takes a toll, takes some time. And to be honest, they said the graveyard is the biggest ideas bank in the world because a lot of us never even go past that stage to actually building the business. And the idea stays with us till we get into our grave. And even for some of us that have actually ventured and have built, Some of our best ideas are still in our brains and in our minds. And what to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hopefully we'll get some reward for them, but we will not be able to actually build them on this world. So I think those are some of the points where, the early challenge of resilience. Then as you get to build a business, then the next is a test of time. How do you win in your new venture and not affect the other parts of life? And may Allah make things easy for our sisters. May Allah give them a lot of barakah. I think this is one of the biggest challenges. I'll fondly say that my first MBA was with my mom. But when she started business and we were younger, I used to started supporting her. She was a school teacher. She was a full-time mom. She was a full-time entrepreneur. It was like doing 4 or 5 things, within one day, and that time to be able to meet all your existing obligations and then face the bold, daunting task of building a business itself. It is also one of the points where your resilience is tested, and that ability to your relationships. How do you manage your relationships through this journey, for good and for bad? How do you manage your spirituality through this journey? The businesses will test you, the challenges of your faith, the compromises between the capitalistic world we live in and the idealistic, tenets of our religion, and how you find the balance between both of those worlds will be a problem that you have to continuously navigate, pray for Allah's guidance and forgiveness on. I think all of this, I think one of the points where from that personal journey, for me, even in the toughest of time in businesses, and wallahi, we would all face it. And, I'm also facing some of it, just being part of, building a business. The best of for us as Muslims is that, we have trust in Allah. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. The fact that we know that is the ultimate owner of Qadar and is the ultimate answer of prayers, and it has the blessings that is very bountiful. And when things are hard, we put it back to him that is a test from Allah. That gives us an inner tranquility for us to face the outer turbulence, if you understand what I mean. So I think this is in the business world, we like to say comparative advantage. This is an advantage that we and Muslim entrepreneurs have even over other people. Uh, the second part, is around business cycles. And this has a very strong overlap with what Brother Jawando talked. The question is, okay, you understand resilience, you understand it'll be challenging as an entrepreneur. That's the ultimate gift of being calling of being an entrepreneur. But the next thing is that, when is this, how do you understand when these things will come so that you can start to plan for it? Brother Jawando talked about the grain industry, which the commodity space which I play in, which is very cyclical. Around October, November, December, everybody's trying to sell, so prices are available. It's like the way you go in today and you will get 4 cons or 5 cons for 1,000 naira. But in another 3, 4 months, you struggle to get two for the same 1,000 naira because prices have gone up. Or if you want to go and buy plantain today and you take a bunch of four, somebody can say it is 15,000 or it's 20,000. But in December, that same plantain will be like 3,000, 2,005. So that cyclicality is within each industry. So there are two broad types. So there's a business cyclicality that is industry bound, and the more you're ready to take advantage of it, the more prepared you will be in terms of resilience. Um, on the other side, there is also economic cyclicality, where the economies go. So, like today, there's a lot of political instability. There is a crisis of a potential war in the Middle East and the Gulf area. America and its tariff system is sending shocks of uncertainty across all the businesses in the world. Things are tough. Interest rates are extremely high globally. Almost the highest it's been in the last 20, 30 years. So those are big challenges around an economic cycle. And when the wave goes, it carries all boats. So when things go and everybody is in it, if the world is in a recession, most businesses, 90 something percent of businesses will be affected adversely, and the outlook becomes sort of dimmer. When you get into a growth era and everybody is growing, everybody is making, prosperity is happening, policies are friendly, everybody's saying globalization, industrialization, and all the decisions that are in in the business vocabulary. It is very good to easy build and gain traction from that point. I remember when we set up Apex in 2014, 2015. So there was a dollar crisis in 2015, 2016, where businesses could not find dollar to import the grains that they needed to use. And we had just set up, we had put up some operations in the north. So the only option they had to go is to go very far north in the country. And this was in the peak of, Boko Haram and all those Wahala in the days. So nobody wanted to send their staff up north. And there were these young guys that were bold enough to go and set up a warehouse in Kaduna, Kano, Damawa, and all those places. So that was our own economic business cycle growth curve that we rode on, because people had a need, had to solve this problem. They weren't ready. They had not built infrastructure to build it. It was a unique, momentous opportunity for us. Allah, we were fortunate. Allah made us available to provide that services, and that was sort of like the wave that we grew and built the business on. So business cycles are important. So you have to understand for your industry, for the economy, and then understand how to position, either to take advantage for or to build more fortress and resilience to be able to manage. The next one is competitive landscape. When industries change drastically and the competitive landscape changes, it creates new problems and it creates new opportunities. An example, that Brad Down also mentioned is one around when the president came in on May 29th and said that, all subsidies, petroleum subsidies have been removed effective immediately. It was, you see, I think he even said that sentence in past tense. Imagine if you, as a, downstream player, had cash, and on May 21st, you had opportunity 1 week before the president made that announcement, and prices were still 185, and you were able to lock up and fill all your reserves. Imagine how much multiples of that will come in just 2 months after, when you're able to then sell it. Those are, significant changes in the industry that when you are positioned for, you can reap, and, you look like the best, the smartest thing that has happened since King Solomon, King Emperor Sulaiman. So those are things that we have to also, as entrepreneurs, be wary of. There are also adverse effects. If you also, on the other side, you're out of inventory, you don't have cash to build, then you have to go and look for new capital to be able to continue with the same size of businesses. Another example, is in technology and the advent of fintechs, and how that has created so many verticals of skilled opportunity for us. It's something else where the landscape is changing. It starts with a policy or a bold innovator or something, and then we just find out that, okay, one example here, particularly with technology, is the Moore's law, that says that every 3 years, the cost of technology reduces by more than half. So look at AI today, and what is that going to bring change in each of our industries in the next 2 years? One a very interesting example, because a lot of us are engineers, that I was having a couple weeks, is what is the impact of AI in seismic, this, when you want to explore crude oil and you want to forecast, you have to do these seismic surveys. And it's a lot of mathematics, econometry, and a lot of just, I remember I worked in one company that had an oil field. And, you just see these guys with very big screens, very cold rooms, and they are following lines and lines and lines and lines, all those geologist kind of things. very, very, it's not easy, but it's very slow paced, very procedural. They can do 4 weeks and have no outcome, no result, nothing produced because they're just searching the unknown. How will AI radicalize that kind of industry, for instance? Software coding, for instance. If you're a software coder, AI is your biggest threat today because, Microsoft today has laid off about 8,000 coders this year alone. Those are sort of the radical changes that are going to come. That as entrepreneurs, as businesses, as professionals, we all have to be, kind of cautious of. Um, Political risk is the first one I have here, and we've used some of the examples in terms of the pronouncement of the administration, the new tax bill, all those policy changes, government support import or not import, is government creating a new policy of building your industry? How does that change things for you? For instance, there was a national content bill that was developed at some point, right? And that created huge opportunities for a number of people. It also disrupted some businesses. The petroleum industry bill for is another one where it's created so much. More recently, the central bank accented to the banking infrastructure. After so many work that has been done, what changes that going to bring to the fintech landscape? What's it going to bring into banking? What's it going to bring to Islamic financial services and all of those things? And are these areas that we're interested in? And how should we position ourselves? Political risk can be very significant. Particularly when they are industry focused, they can create huge new opportunities. They could also um, create huge, considerable challenges. And this is something that, again, it is part of what you as an entrepreneur have to, I think to close it, it's still really going back to, regardless of all of this, having faith and putting trust in Allah and the power of prayer is a very important part of the coping mechanism, at least for me as an entrepreneur. That is one of the things. Second is having a very strong, very, very restful home fronts. Having partners, may Allah give us partners that are the sweetness of our eyes, but people that can stay with you and reason things with you, not compound your problem. If you go to business and things are tough, you have difficult meetings, you have crisis you're managing, and then you get home, and then it's World War IV, in the home front. It becomes very challenging on both parties. Will lie, whether it's a brother and his family and business, or it's a sister and a family adventure and a business. It becomes even triple harder to really be able to navigate the external problems when the internal problem it's there as well. So yeah, like give all of us restful homes. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very on point as well. Thank you to both speakers so far. It has been an interesting session. Engineer Jarando said, lack of due diligence, feasibility stage, execution stage, waiting stage, and then the success stage. And he made mention of something about the challenges, access to credit, which most beginners or young entrepreneurs are dealing with, personal competencies, and theft by these workers. How do you attract workers that will not steal on site? And then it talks about economic instability, like we experienced few days between before and after May 29, 2023. And what has really helped along this journey, it talked about also the customer relationship, which is very key when the chips are down. Who are the people that will still think about Taiwo, that will think about Saba, that, okay, this is my go-to person, even when the chips are down. Mr. Odeji also said about personal journey as the founder. the personal journey as the founder. How do you leave the known? Yes, I'm okay where I am now. To go to where you don't even know what's going to happen there. That first journey, that determination of moving from that known to unknown. And he said, even if you have good family background, you have access to all of these things that you can start with. What about how do you navigate the test of time? You know, especially for the women, wearing different hats on the same day. You are a mother, you are an entrepreneur, you are a teacher, you want to do the homework and all in the same day. Understanding the business cycle. How do you know when banana, plantain, and the rest of them will sell at higher prices? What season of the year will they sell at the lower prices? Competitive landscape. And we can't rule out that, okay, we are not acting alone. The political risk is also there. And he capped it all that, okay, for him, which I feel we can all adopt as well, power of prayer. You know, in those times where you have difficult meetings, you are not even close to your projected return on investment. How do you have that inner peace? And more importantly, either it is women or men, having a supportive and dependable partner. This, in short, is summary of what the two speakers have said, and this is so detailed within that very short period of time. First question for Engineer Jawando, what I got here, someone said, how do you deal with, for an entrepreneur that doesn't really have access to capital, struggling to navigate themselves and struggling to hire these resources themselves. Resources that I mean personnel. Sorry, is my voice okay? Struggling to navigate themselves. They don't really have they don't have access to that huge support. So they are limited or they are constrained in hiring experts like Engineer Aminu Sabah or those experts that will charge them a lot of money. So they are kind of forced or situation warrant them to go in between the experts and the low level personnel. So they are in between to just be able to navigate that industry. But they also identify that competence is an issue a little bit from these people, but they feel they can augment themselves. So how do you deal with that when the lack of competence is changing and is affecting your business? That's the first question I have here, Engineer Gerald.
So you're actually breaking most of the time. But what
Oh,
I
okay.
get from there is how do you deal with competence?
Yes, sir.
Lack of competence affecting your business. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I think I mentioned during the course of my 20-minute discussion that one of the things you can do is you hire a few experienced uh, individuals to mentor those that are not well experienced. For you to hire them, you pay higher than what the industry is offering. Because if somebody is comfortable in a booth with allowance and bonuses, he or she will not want to leave that company. So let's take, for example, person is earning 500,000 naira, and you need that person to you want to hunt him to. So most times you can attract them with money or a better package, flexible work plan, all those things. So you definitely need to pay higher. So paying higher might mean paying 150% or 200% in some cases, depending on how valuable the person is or what would be to your organization. So when you get this person, you set up like a mentorship group where you assign the less experienced people to them manage and supervise.
Your voice is going up and down, up and down.
Okay, you ensure knowledge sharing and transfer. What I've
Okay.
said in summary is more experienced people, and you attach the less experienced people as subordinates or mentees under the more experienced one. So with time, they also went to school. They will grab some of these things and they will improve in their experience. One other challenge is by the time they become experienced, it's not a one-off thing. By the time they're becoming experienced, other industries are also looking for them. Just like you poached some people from the other sector, from the other companies, people will be after the ones you have trained to. So it's something you have to do continuously.
Okay. Thank you, Engineer Jawando. So if I can summarize, I had um the workers that are more experienced and highly skilled, the mentor is with Sister Khadija. To mentor those that are less experienced, and then it has to be a cycle because they can also leave unexpectedly. Brother Yodeji, that personal journey, you spoke about resilience, operating system. You have used what really resonates with most of us to understand that the operating system is key. So that starting that journey, that living from known to unknown. I have a question here that says, living that known to unknown. If you are not opportune to have a mother that trained you or that you learn by just watching from, and you don't have access to capital, you just want to build a business plan, and then you feel it's what you can navigate into. What are the ways to even feel motivated to leave that known to unknown? Brother Yodeji, please, if you have questions, you can drop them on the chat box. Please go ahead, Brother Yodeji.
Yeah, so the first motivation will be, what does success look like? If you can define what success looks like, and that sparks an excitement in you, I think that's a very, very strong test that you are psychologically ready for the journey. So and that's why most businesses, the best of businesses, are businesses that solve a problem, not one that comes to replicate, this person has done this, I can also do this in my area. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But when you see an opportunity, you see a challenge or a market gap or market friction, and you are providing a solution for this, and it's not a very easy task. That's why ideation is a very difficult. That's why Brajawando also spent a lot of time on the business planning. Is that finding that spark. That is enough of a motivation most of the time. Second time is that the reward, if you're thinking big enough, the potential of that reward, I can't remember a quote very vividly, but it was something like, when the size of a positive outcome and the probability of a negative outcome, and you look at both of them and say, even if it's a 30% chance this will succeed, the value of what it will come when it succeeds is more than, where I am today. Those are sort of the kind of ways that you can inspire yourself.
Thank you, Brother Yodeji. We have 1 minute to go, but we just throw the last question to both of you, just in less than a minute, starting from Brother Yodeji. How has relationship with your stakeholders, whether it's your customer or investors and the rest of them, how has relationship helped you? To both of you, Brother Yodeji, starting from you, please.
No, so that's your job as an entrepreneur, relationship manager. Everybody, all your stakeholders, your primary job is to manage relationships, external staff, home, investor, everything. That's 100% of the work.
Thank you. Engineer Jawando, how has relationship helped you in navigating through these challenges and building resilience?
One of the businesses I do, like I mentioned earlier, goes in a circle. It has its ups and downs. And I will tell you that due to relationship, at least in the last 10 years of starting that's the second one. I've not lost a single egg due to glut. Like I said, my customers see themselves as part of the business, attached to the company. And that's due to the kind of relationship we have with them. If you come to my farm, you'll see some chicken that I don't sell. I only give it to my customers when they have some special events in their life. Their families know me, their children know me, and they always prefer that their parents do business with me. When there are issues, they call me to tell me instead of just shutting the door on me and that they are not buying or they something cheaper elsewhere. So that is once you build a good relationship with your customer, see themselves as part of you and not just a customer running to look for cheaper things everywhere.
Thank you, Engineer Gerando, and thank you, Brother Adeji, as well for the exciting session. So to cap it off, entrepreneurs should rather focus on customer journey rather than customers' moments. I want to sell now, get my profits now. It's not as profitable as, okay, I want to sell and I want to still maintain my customer relationship and retain my customer. It's been an exciting journey on our topic today, navigating challenges and resilience in entrepreneurship. Thank you to our speakers. We pray that Allah will continue to enrich you. So I'll be calling on the president to give us the opening dua. Brother Aminu Saba, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Taiwo. Thanks, Alhaji Jawando and Alhaji Ayodeji Balogun for gracing the session. So this marked the end of our entrepreneur journey series this year. I want to appreciate all the participants, our esteemed speakers, our valued guests. We are drawing the curtain on this impactful edition for this year. And the theme, like we started, Ignite the Spark, discovering the entrepreneur within. It's focused on self-discovery. We've learned that passion is a major factor, but that passion has to be driven by purpose. That is, it must be purposeful. Then the oil for that purpose will not be a mindset shift. That is, you must have a mindset that is in tune with the purpose, and the purpose must drive the passion. That's what we have learned basically. So each session has its own eye-opening and its realities as well with regards to business. So our speakers, I want to say thank you generously. I appreciate your efforts and your time to share your experiences, the wisdom, the time. We say Jazakumullah khairan. To all our participants, I want to say thank you for your commitment, your questions, your enthusiasms. Jazakallah khairan. And to the organizers, that's the professional committee, ably led by our own Prince, that's Prince Muhyiddin Bakari. They are working behind the scenes. They put so much effort, finances, in also supporting entrepreneurs in this series. At least throughout these sessions, we've dished out 300K as support for small entrepreneurs. I want to say thank you so much. We hope that the knowledge you have gained here will go a long way and it's going to go beyond the notes we've taken, beyond the recordings. We have also taken to real action, right? The fresh ideas, and it's also going to enable us to build sustainable businesses. So inshallah, this is not the end. It's just the beginning of a renewed mindset and stronger community of entrepreneurs. I also want to implore our members with ideas, with passion and purpose and have business ideas, but probably they need support. We have in our midst brothers that can support, that can be part of your ideas, that can help you in a way that you can drive your business to reality. It will also come with its own terms, but I believe that is a dream we can achieve together as a community. So if you think you have anything you're passionate about, you have strong belief that is worthwhile of your time and resources of members of this community, feel free to reach out. Reach out to me. I assure you that we will listen to you and we will advise you accordingly. And if it is worth it from our own assessment, inshallah, we also support you. So I want to say thank you once again to everyone as we await the next edition that will be coming up next year. Keep the fire burning, stay consistent, and believe in your journey. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So closing dua as well from you, Mr. President.
We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us beyond next year. We pray Almighty Allah make these sessions we've learned all through the drive to us for us to achieve better things in our life, in our businesses. And we pray to you to also make us stronger in connection, in networking, and in relationship. To all our speakers, may Almighty Allah come to elevate you higher in your businesses, in your companies, in whatever you want, in your endeavors. To all our supporters, all our participants, may Almighty Allah accept all our heart desires and accept our prayers. We pray to all Muslims all over the world, Almighty Allah should relieve them of their challenges and to make them successful in all their endeavors. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الأخيار وسلم تسليما كثيرا وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على النبي الكريم
عليه وسلم.
Thank you all for joining. See you next time.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
جزاكم الله خيرا.